Have you ever wondered why we speak so many different languages? Why a simple conversation can sometimes feel like we're from different planets? The answer might be hidden in one of the most famous stories ever told, the story of the Tower of Babel. Let's travel back in time to the land of Shinar shortly after the Great Flood. According to the book of Genesis, all of humanity was united. They spoke a single language and shared a common culture. As they migrated eastward, they found a plain and decided to settle there. They had a brilliant idea, or so they thought. They said to each other, "Come, let's make bricks and bake them thoroughly." Then they said, "Let's build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves. Otherwise, we will be scattered over the face of the whole earth." This wasn't just any construction project. This was a statement. It was humanity's attempt to achieve greatness on their own terms, to create a monumental symbol of their unity and power, a skyscraper of self-reliance that would literally touch the sky. They wanted to make a name for themselves, to control their own destiny and avoid being scattered, which was actually what God had commanded them to do to fill the earth. Their ambition was impressive, but their motivation was misplaced. It was rooted in pride and a desire to be like God, to reach heaven through their own efforts rather than through a relationship with Him. Now God saw this. He came down to see the city and the tower the people were building. And He wasn't impressed by the height of the tower, but He was concerned about the height of their pride. He saw that with one language and a unified, rebellious purpose, there would be no limit to what they could imagine and then achieve, potentially leading them further and further away from Him, He said. If as one people speaking the same language they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. So, what did God do? He didn't send a flood or fire. He did something much more subtle, yet incredibly effective. He confused their language. Suddenly, the seamless communication that had made their massive project possible was gone. The architect couldn't understand the builder. The bricklayer couldn't understand his supplier. Imagine the chaos, the frustration. "Pass me the hammer" might have sounded like your hat is on fire. Communication broke down, trust eroded, and cooperation became impossible. The great project ground to a halt. The people, now unable to understand one another, abandoned their city and their half-finished tower. They began to cluster into groups with others who spoke the same new language. And from there, they scattered across the face of the earth, just as God had originally intended. The city was named Babel, which sounds like the Hebrew word for confused, a fitting name for the place where unity turned into division. So what's the lesson for us today? The story of Babel isn't just an ancient myth about the origin of languages. It's a powerful lesson about humanity, ambition, and our relationship with the divine. First, it's a caution against pride. The people of Babel wanted to make a name for themselves, not to glorify God. They put their own achievements and reputation above all else. It's a timeless reminder that when our ambition is driven by ego, it can lead to confusion and failure. True greatness isn't about building towers to our own glory, but about living a life of purpose and humility. Second, it highlights the importance of unity in purpose. The people were incredibly effective when they were united, but their unity was for the wrong reason. It shows us that unity itself isn't always a good thing. It depends on the goal. Are we uniting to serve ourselves, or are we uniting for a greater, more positive purpose that benefits everyone? And finally, the story shows us that God's plan will ultimately prevail. The people tried to defy His command to fill the earth, but in the end, God's will was done, just not in the way they expected. It's a story of divine intervention, reminding us that we're not entirely in control. From the confusion at Babel to the miracle of Pentecost in the New Testament, where the apostles spoke in different tongues and everyone understood, the Bible tells a grand story of division and reconciliation. The Tower of Babel represents human pride leading to division, while Pentecost represents divine grace leading to understanding and unity. So the next time you struggle with a language barrier or feel like you're just not on the same page as someone else, remember the Tower of Babel. It's a story that challenges us to check our pride, to align our ambitions with a greater good, and to seek true unity, not in a single language, but in a shared spirit of understanding and humility. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this story meaningful, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more explorations into the timeless stories that shape our world. See you next time.